What if the one girl every guy in school is obsessed with actually wants you, and you say no twice, and then somehow still manage to ruin your own life anyway? That's the chaotic, hilarious, and surprisingly emotional ride we're diving into today. Our story begins with Ramona, the most beautiful, most talked about girl in school. Every guy dreams of being with her, and honestly, who could blame them? But among all these hopeless admirers, there's one guy who stands out for all the wrong reasons, Andy. At a party, Andy finally decides tonight's the night. He's going to shoot his shot with Ramona. The only problem? He can barely breathe in her direction. His friend Sylvie notices the panic, hands him some liquid courage, and practically pushes him onto the dance floor. Andy walks up to Ramona and starts dancing, but in the most awkward, uncoordinated way possible. Somehow, instead of laughing him off, Ramona finds it endearing. She joins in. Then nature calls. Andy slips into the bathroom, takes one look at the disaster inside, and quietly walks back out without doing anything. Ramona is literally standing at the door. Andy, convinced she'll think he made that mess, immediately drags her outside. Moments later, another guy rushes in, sees the state of the bathroom, calls his friends over, and they all start mocking Andy. The next evening, there's another party. This time, Ramona's friends pull her aside and tell her Andy is really into her, and that he's never actually been with anyone. Ramona, being Ramona, turns this into a challenge. She tells her friends to watch. She's spending the night with Andy. She walks over, dances with him, then leads him into a private room. She tells him she knows he's been waiting for this moment, and starts to undress. Andy stops her. He tells her he doesn't want things to go this way. He wants to spend real time with her, get to know her, actually love her. Ramona, who has never been rejected in her life, is furious. She gets dressed and storms out. The next morning, Andy tells his friends what happened. They react like he just turned down a lottery ticket. They tell him he blew it, that he needs to be smarter, and, most importantly, he needs to stop Sylvie, who's now actively pursuing Ramona himself. Andy goes to school and confronts Sylvie directly, but Sylvie isn't backing down. As the two argue, Ramona walks in, takes one look at the situation, and kisses Sylvie right in front of Andy, then formally accepts his proposal, cold. Andy's world shifts when summer vacation arrives. He and his mom check into a hotel, and at the reception desk, Andy's heart does something embarrassing. He spots Anamona, the receptionist, and is instantly smitten. He makes his way to the bar and asks the bartender about her. The bartender, with suspicious enthusiasm, warns him to stay away. Apparently, she makes adult videos. Red flag, Andy ignores it completely. He walks up to Anamona and starts talking in the most awkward way imaginable. Instead of shutting him down, she finds him oddly amusing and invites him for a walk on the beach that night. On the beach, Andy asks about the bartender's warning. Anamona explains calmly. She rejected the bartender's advances, so he started spreading lies. Mystery solved. They start learning about each other. Anamona mentions she has a boyfriend, but she also says Andy feels innocent and genuine, so she wanted to spend some time with him. Just walking, nothing serious. Then she adds one condition. Before she kisses him, he has to sing her a song. Andy, fully committed to the bit, sings and even starts dancing. She kisses him. One thing leads to another, and by morning, there's been a storm. But the good mood doesn't last. Andy's mom announces it's time to leave. Andy goes looking for Anamona to introduce her to his mom, but she finds him first, and she's not okay. Someone saw him leaving her room, which violates hotel policy. She's been fired. Andy begs her not to leave town. She says she's heading back with her boyfriend, and that's final. They go their separate ways. On the way back, Andy gets a message from Ramona. Sylvie has hit her, and she needs help. Andy rushes over. Her face has visible bruises. He stays with her, and at some point mentions Anamona. Ramona doesn't believe she exists because Andy has no photos, no contact info, nothing. She mocks him. Andy, tired and hurt, calls her out for being cruel and walks away. Back home, Andy is visibly miserable. His mom notices and gently suggests he reach out to Anamona. The problem is, he never got her number. He searches every social media platform. Nothing. He decides to go back to the hotel to track down her contact, manages to get a message to her, and asks if she'll meet him in her city. She agrees. They meet at a club. They dance. They get close. Very close. They end up in the washroom together, and the storm returns with full force. But a bouncer finds them, drags Andy out, and roughs him up. Anamona tends to his wounds. Andy, still hopeful, asks when she plans to tell her boyfriend about them. She looks at him quietly and says her boyfriend is very wealthy, and she's not willing to give that up. She wants to stay with him. Andy walks home with a broken heart. Things get worse the next day at school. Every student is staring and snickering at Andy and his friend. Turns out, when Andy rejected Ramona that first night, she got revenge the best way she knew how. She spread a rumor that Andy is gay. Andy tries to set the record straight, but nobody wants to listen. He's humiliated. The one person who actually listens is Carla, a close female friend who's always been there for him. Andy shares everything. They talk for hours. They get closer and closer, and somewhere between the heartbreak and the honesty, an earthquake happens. The next morning, Andy sees her in a completely different light, like Mowgli discovering his Bagheera was someone unexpected all along. They both agree, warmly and awkwardly, to go back to being just friends and forget the earthquake ever happened. But Andy isn't done with Sylvie. He hatches a revenge plan. Working with his friend, he sends Carla a fake letter signed with Sylvie's name, complete with a gift, asking her to be his girlfriend. It also happens to be Valentine's Day. Carla, absolutely glowing, marches straight up to Sylvie and announces they're officially in a relationship. Sylvie's response is cruel. He calls her a hippo and says no one would ever want her. That is the wrong thing to say. Carla grabs him and beats him down right there in front of the entire school. Sylvie ends up flat on the floor. Everyone points and laughs. Revenge served warm. That evening, Andy asks Ramona on a proper date. She shows up looking stunning. He takes her to a lighthouse, his private escape, the place he goes when the world gets too heavy. He tells her that she is the most beautiful thing in his small, quiet world, and that he loves her endlessly. Ramona is moved in a way she's never been before. She tells him no one has ever loved her the way he does. They kiss. Then Andy suggests they head back to her place. Ramona tenses. She's used to guys using romance as a setup for something else. But Andy reassures her that he's not like them, and she already knows that. Back at her place, Andy playfully teases her until she can't hold herself back anymore. Just when things heat up, Andy pulls the same move she once pulled on him. He smirks and says he told her he wasn't like other guys, and he's not doing this. Ramona grabs him and forces the storm and the earthquake to happen simultaneously. Fair enough. After that, things between them are genuinely good. They spend real time together, and for once, Andy seems happy. Then, one day, while he's with Ramona, his phone buzzes. It's Anamona. She's passing through his city and wants to meet, bring her favorite flowers, 1 hour. Andy panics, makes up an excuse about an urgent errand, and slips away to meet her. The moment they see each other, they kiss. Andy brings her home, and Anamona and his mom hit it off immediately. Then Ramona calls. She's angry he didn't show up, and she demands he come over tonight with flowers. Andy tells her he has plans with a cousin. Ramona pushes. Anamona, reading the room, ends the call for him. That night, back in his room, the storm returns once more. But Andy is tangled. He doesn't know who he wants. The girl he's been chasing since school, or the one who makes his mom smile. He talks to his mom. She doesn't give him a clear answer. He makes his decision anyway. He breaks things off with Ramona and chooses Anamona. That night, everything feels settled. Until midnight. Ramona shows up outside his house, pulls him close, and kisses him. Andy gently tells her the truth. That yes, he has liked her for a long time, but he can't be with her anymore because she doesn't give him the happiness he actually needs. Ramona pleads. Andy doesn't budge. He walks back inside and closes the door. Years pass. Andy writes a book. He becomes wealthy and well-known. Life with Anamona is good. Then, one night at a club, he runs into Ramona. They catch up. She mentions she's engaged. Her fiancé is very rich. They chat, laugh a little, and she offers him a ride. In the car, the tone shifts. She admits her relationship with her fiancé is hollow, and that no one has ever loved her the way Andy did. She says she should have stayed with him. Andy is barely listening. He's busy texting Anamona. But Ramona's words get through eventually, and something in him softens with pity. One last time, the storm visits the car. When Andy gets home, Anamona isn't there. Then a message arrives from Ramona. She's already told Anamona everything. She says she will never let him be happy. Just like that, Andy's voice echoes in his own head, asking what would have happened if he'd never gone to that first party at all. The screen cuts back. We're at that original party. Young Andy is frozen with nerves and Sylvie is walking over to build his confidence. But this time, Andy turns around and punches Sylvie square in the face before any of it begins. The message is clear. If he could go back, he'd skip all of it and go straight to Anemona. And on that punch, the story ends.